If the tumultuous box office season of 2023 has taught the film industry anything, it's that a film's longevity is the most important aspect of achieving massive success and an all-time status. A sustained level of success is key to some of the biggest box office hits of all time. Reaching unparalleled popularity that was unseen at the time of its initial release, the classic musical The Sound of Music remained in theaters for over 4 years. The Sound of Music was based on the award-winning stage play of the same name, which featured music by Richard Rodgers and lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein II. While musical films aren't necessarily considered to be potential blockbusters in today's cinematic ecosystem, the 1960s saw the debut of several popular musicals that became significant critical and commercial hits. While the film is only based on a true story in the vaguest possible sense, the notion that The Sound of Music was tackling real events in history helped differentiate it from other musicals of the era. The popularity of the Broadway show itself and Julie Andrews' rising star power following her performance in Mary Poppins was certainly enough to generate interest from audiences. However, The Sound of Music's record-breaking success can be directly attributed to the strong marketing campaign by 20th Century Fox. Marketing expert Mike Kaplan was brought in to develop an extensive series of ads that targeted trade publications like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter. It was Kaplan who helped bring in outside agencies to start the film's publicity cycle as early as possible, and also helped design the film's now iconic poster. Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics, The Sound of Music connected with audiences and became one of the decade's biggest films. Instead of immediately making the film available in wide release, 20th Century Fox opted to create a traveling roadshow that hit key markets that were capable of playing the film with the 70mm screenings and 6-track stereophonic sound that Wise had intended. The Sound of Music topped the box office when it eventually made itself available to audiences around the country, quickly becoming the biggest film of 1965 within its first 4 weeks of release, and it retained its #1 position for 30 of the next 43 weeks. After spending another 11 weeks at the top of the box office in 1966, The Sound of Music topped the gross set by Gone with the Wind to become the highest grossing film of all time. Although Gone with the Wind would eventually retake the record upon its re-release, Francis Ford Coppola's gangster masterpiece The Godfather occupied the top spot when it hit theaters in 1972. In terms of most tickets sold in the history of cinema, The Sound of Music ranks just behind Gone with the Wind and Star Wars. The Sound of Music spent an astounding 4.5 years in sustained release before it left theaters on Labor Day 1969. It's still one of the highest grossing musical films of all time, and when adjusted for inflation, ensured itself a permanent placement within Hollywood's most outstanding financial achievements.